This is a really important point. I hope the audience pays close attention to this point. Physical location, although is definitely viable for E2 visa, it creates a lot of complications, and complications are not good in a sense that most E2 investors are not US residents, don't have a US credit history, don't have a social security number. When you're renting a retail location, oftentimes the landlord will require that credit history, that social security number before agreeing to rent to the foreign citizen. So sometimes even finding a landlord willing to rent to a non-resident foreign citizen is a difficulty. Number two is retail location build-out usually drags out the E2 visa process enormously because we have to demonstrate the business is set up ready to open at the very minimum before we're allowed to apply for E2 visa. If the business model requires a build-out retail location, meaning you have to hire the contractors, architects to build out the location, however long that might take before we can apply for E2 visa. In addition, oftentimes local government authorities will require permits, licenses, registrations, and they can take forever to get that. In fact, sometimes some of the permit licenses for retail type of business models may require the person to have a social security number or residency in the US before the local city, county, or state government willing to issue those licenses. These are the kind of complications that we run into with retail location type of business model. And oftentimes in that type of situation, my client would have to secure a US business partner to help with securing the licenses and permits and all that, all those compliance issues. If you invest in a business model that could be run out of a simple office space, then the leasehold is much easier to secure because the landlord in that type of office space is usually a lot more lenient and the leases are much shorter and there's no build out. So the time from investment to the time of applying for a visa is drastically reduced. Now, if you're, passionate or determined to do a retail location type of business, that's certainly doable. But I do want the audience to understand the distinction and the time advantages of a non-retail location type of business for E2 investment. Daniel?
Excellent points. Thank you very much for bringing the timeline point of view here for this discussion. The other thing is important here, as mentioned, as Attorney Chung has just mentioned, if someone is really passionate about a location-driven model, we're going to find opportunities, okay? And there are certain instances in which the location-driven business may be adequate. So, for example, if I'm dealing with a candidate in which the English proficiency is not at commercial level, so it's much easier to run a coffee shop that is order-taking than a business in the service industry that requires intensive communication. So that could be one of the factors that we will look at on a case-by-case basis. The other thing still related to not having credit history in the United States, a landlord may require additional security deposit, the additional months of security deposit. So in lieu of having a solid credit history in the United States. So then when you start evaluating your business on a cash-on-cash return, because you had to park additional money in the form of security deposit, you're gonna figure out that that's not the most efficient use of money that you could have with a service-based business operated from a small office or office warehouse. Excellent.